And this is what it's all about. It is about protecting your future. So what is the meaning of cessation? And how does it apply to us in this context? Cessation means, first and foremost, that $2.2 billion that we now enjoy from cabinet and the parliament, we will no longer have. And so this evening, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that I am enjoying every bit of this election campaign. I feel energy, I see youth, I feel the vibrancy of this campaign, and more so the support from our people out there in the electoral districts. But of course, you know, we must stop to recognize the contribution of one of our stalwart and pay tribute to him because he passed on this morning. And I am proud of the legacy that William the Conqueror Mackenzie would have left here, not only within the People's National Movement, but throughout the length and breadth of Tobago. A man of passion, a man of humility, a man of the people, and I hope that that will live on in one of our candidates, who is also his grandson, Keno Mackenzie. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you tonight that I am very pleased in your prospective candidate and immediate former area representative, Mr. Kelvon Morris. When I look at him, I see a true politician, one who understands people and one who understands how it is to represent people within the electoral district. And you heard from prospective candidate of Bukumong Pleasant that it is not solely about being a secretary. It's not solely about being an assistant secretary. But more than that, it's about understanding that whether you are in office or out of office, that you have a responsibility to represent the people that would have appointed you. And so when they come to you making empty excuses that they were not in office, tell them they lie. Because their first duty is to ensure that they are assemblymen and that they represent the people going forward. That is what it's all about. And so I'm very pleased that Kelvon, over the last 8 or so months, would have represented you in this electoral district, and I know that he would do well going forward. And so we are on this platform tonight. What do we speak about? We're talking about the People's National Movement and where we have taken Tobago over the last 20 years. We are raising the issues as we go along. But most importantly, we will provide you with where we want to take Tobago beyond 2021. And that is where our vision and that is where our manifesto will come in. And so, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I have been listening and doing my research and I have been observing. And tonight, again, I want to tell you why you must support the People's National Movement and only the People's National Movement and all of our 15 candidates who are vying to become, first and foremost, assemblymen within the electoral district. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I sat listening to the PDP over the last months or so. Listening to their plans, listening to their articulations, listening to their expressions. And I have reasoned that the PDP and its representatives are not about Tobago, but rather they are on their own personal ambitions, and more so, they are about ensuring that their own personal agendas are executed. And why do I say that, ladies and gentlemen? Because Tobago recently had an opportunity to become a game changer in terms of or development in the region and or development in the country. We had an opportunity to sign on to the Tobago Autonomy Bill from the PNM and even with the support of the UNC. But that did not happen, ladies and gentlemen. And we saw how the PDP hung up with their representatives from Trinidad to deny Tobago and Tobagonians of the opportunity to self-determine. And when you look at all the reasons that they have placed, ladies and gentlemen, they would have placed their own interests before that of the people of Tobago. And when you listen to the PDP and its representatives, you will hear first and foremost and mainly what are their priorities at the end of the day. And I've said it before, the deputy political leader of the PDP is about ensuring that he finds a way to become chief secretary without the support of his political leader. And when he opened the bill that was laid in Parliament and recognized that you must become chief secretary by becoming political leader and then be chosen by the candidates who sat around the table, he decided, no, I'm not going down that route because, yes, my political leader said I will become chief secretary, but I know that I can't believe anything that he says. And so in the meetings that we would have kept, his focus was about ensuring that we change the precedents in Tobago, ensuring that we change the precedents in Trinidad and Tobago to vote for a chief secretary through a Tobago House of Assembly election. That is what it's all about. Putting his own personal agenda in front of the agenda of the people of Tobago. And then we heard from his political leader in terms of what he wants out of the Tobago Autonomy Arrangement. And he wants independence. And most importantly, he wants cessation. And so he was there at Magdalena telling the people that we want our own this and we want our own that. And in effect, what I'm saying to you is that Tobago must be cut off from Trinidad, ladies and gentlemen. And this, I tell you tonight, is the first order and priority of the PDP if they are to get into office on the night of December 6, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you have been paying any attention. I don't know if you have Googled the word cessation. I don't know if you have paid any attention to the meaning of what cessation is. But in this context, cessation is about moving Tobago away from Trinidad. That is what it is. Cessation that Watson Duke of the PDP as the political leader is preaching is about cutting off Tobago from Trinidad. Google it. And you would see what I'm talking about. And that is why I say to each and every one of you that this platform is a platform of truth. I am here to preach and to tell you what is going to happen come the night of December 6, 2021, if we are to put God out of our thoughts. Tobago, you must wise up. Tobago, this is about protecting your future. This is about coming out and giving your vote to the PNM and the 15 candidates and no other. Because we could very well wake up on the 7th of December 2021 and recognize that Crapaud smoke all our pipe. And this is what it's all about. It is about protecting your future. So what is the meaning of cessation? And how does it apply to us in this context? Cessation means, first and foremost, that $2.2 billion that we now enjoy from cabinet and the parliament, we will no longer have. It will no longer be available to us. That is what cessation is all about. And this is in a situation where Watson wants to become prime minister. So he doesn't care at all. He has no concern with whether the people of Tobago will be denied $2.2 billion going forward. They already caused us to be robbed of $1.4 billion on a yearly basis. This is what it's all about for the PDP. And so when I tell you that they're about their own personal agendas, believe me, because if you were to do the research, you would hear it from their own mouths. I am not talking secondhand. Cessation at the end of the day means that we would no longer be able to enjoy the benefits that Trinidad has to offer. I know most of us like to go down on the boats on the plane on a weekend and to shop and come back. But even that will be denied, because at the end of the day, you will have to have a visa. At the end of the day, you will have to have your own passport. And most importantly, you would have to pay the full fare via boat and also plane to get to Trinidad. You will not be able to line up for any promotion within the public service if you were to vote as the people of Tobago, the PDP, into office on December 6, 2021. I didn't say so. It is the PDP political leader who has said that to you on countless occasions. And even though the people in his party, including the deputy political leader, has said that is not the way we want to go. We want federalism, and I want to be the chief secretary. He said to the people of Tobago that we not going there. I run this ship. He runs the ship as the political party, and that is the direction that he will be taking Tobago, all because of his own personal agendas that he will be putting over the agenda of the people of Tobago. Mr. DJ, run something there for me.
I'm not making this up. They stood on their platform and they say they want independence.
We want independence from Trinidad.
Their political leader wants to be prime minister of something.
We must have our own prime minister in Tobago. We have no chief secretary. Stupidness. Let's rock so with that.
They're silent on it now because it may not sell well in the election campaign, but they told you what they want. You know who they're involved with in Trinidad, who will give you independence in the morning if you want it, because you are standing in their way from the Trinidad end.
Give the PDP the East and the West seats, and in 6 months' time, you will have full internal self-government. We don't want Trinidad judicial system. We don't want that. We must have our high court right here. Our immigration officers must come from right here. We don't want to share no immigration. We don't want no air traffic control with Trinidad. We must control every bloody thing. And if it wasn't clear to you, let me tell you this. What I'm asking for is secession. We need to move away from Trinidad.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have it. From the mouths of the political leader of the PDP, he wants cessation. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have to ensure that at the end of the day, we come out and vote to prevent the PDP from taking the reins of the Tobago House of Assembly. Most importantly, you must come out to ensure that you protect your future, because this is what it's all about at the end of the day. And as I indicated, that is their first order of priority going forward. And so you have to ask yourselves as a people, what then is their second order of priority? And again, we have heard it from their mouths, from the mouth of the political leader of the PDP, and we have heard it from the mouth of the deputy political leader as well of the PDP. And he has said it they have said it on countless occasions. The Tobago House of Assembly employs too many people. And both of them agreed that we have too many employees in the Tobago House of Assembly. And so when they tell you about this cessation, That is their plan to fund, to derail and send home some of our people in order to ensure that they fund this cessation that they are talking about. And they plan to ensure that there will be retrenchment of the people in the divisions throughout the Tobago House of Assembly. Because at the end of the day, when you look at it, our recurrent budget is $2 billion and counting. And so if it is that they are talking about recession, if it is that at the end of the day we would not be able to benefit from the financial arrangements of the central government, it means that they must find the funding from somewhere. And so when Farley says there are too many people employed in the THA, or when Watson Duke says we are going to give to them an ex gratia payment, in effect what they are saying to you is that we have started to arrange your severance pay package. That is what it's all about. And so for them, their priority is to ensure that we have cessation. And the second priority is to ensure that they send home contract workers to fund their own folly and even their own exploits going forward. That is the plan of action for the PDP. Cessation on one side and mass retrenchment on the other. Pay attention to the utterings of the PDP. Don't just jump up in the gully music and the rant and rave and the whatever they bring to you. Pay attention to what they're saying, and you will get from them what their plan of action is going forward. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, we are saying to all of you this evening that it is important. It is important that you come out and ensure that you protect that future going forward. The People's National Movement has over the years created over 10,000 jobs. And we are saying to each and every one of you tonight, as a part of our vision going forward, that we are intent on creating 3,000 more additional jobs, because we recognize that there is a challenge with youth employment. We recognize that people want to live meaningful lives. We recognize that after the effects of COVID-19, that we have to be in a position to open up and to create other employment opportunities for people. And we are going to do that, not only by employing everyone within the THA, but ensuring that we work with the private sector to create over 3,000 jobs. And so, ladies and gentlemen, when we speak on this platform, we speak truth. Truth from each and every one of us, the political leader, the chief secretary, and even all of the candidates. When we speak to you on the basis of fact. And this is what it's all about in this election. Don't allow the others on the other side to fool you with their rant and rave. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as I speak to the point of retrenchment, I just want to bring it home to all of you that whenever an administration changes, the assumption is that the people who are currently employed, whether it be in the divisions or whether it be in the ministries, as the case in Trinidad, that all of them were hired to carry out the agenda of the administration before. And we saw it in 2010. When the UNC took over, there are records of it everywhere. You can ask people, over 8,000 persons were sent home when that administration changed. So who is to say that if it is that the PNM is out of office, that the PDP will not send home the 10,000 persons that we have working in the Tobago House of Assembly? And you heard from Brother Punchin that every contract for every officer comes up to a secretary to be signed. That is the reality of the situation. That is the reality of this situation. And if Watson, who is the political leader of the PSA, and the political leader of the PDP, and the union representatives could fire people from the PSA, who is to say that he can't fire daily paid as well? And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have to ask ourselves the question. And most importantly, we have to reason going forward, because this is what it's all about. I just want to say that this PNM administration in the Tobago House of Assembly cares for each and every one of you. As I've said it before, we are not a perfect people. We are not a perfect administration. But when you look at all the gains that we have made for you and the progress that we have made for you over the last 20 years, when you compare it with what happens in the rest of the Caribbean, it is really second to none. When you compare it even to what is really happening in Trinidad, it is really second to none. And you would see some of those people on Facebook, etc., making noise that the people of Tobago is getting through too much. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we are about ensuring that we can increase the standard of living so that you, the people of Tobago, can be empowered. People's National Movement Administration. Let us not think that if this administration changes, that you will enjoy the same kind of benefits that you have been enjoying over the last 20 years or so. We have evidence that it does not have to be so. And we could look over in Trinidad to find that evidence when the UNC was in office. So what have we done over the last 20 years with the funding coming from central government? We have ensured that we can double the size of the Tobago economy over the period. And so we have moved from 2001 to 2021, Tobago's GDP, which has increased from $900 million to approximately $1.7 billion today. PNM style. This is where we are at. And as I indicated, we have created over 10,000 jobs from the time that we came into office to now. And I'm reminded that those jobs are actually about 21,700 as it is in 2001. And as I said, a further 3,000 to be created, ladies and gentlemen. We have ensured that we work with you to reduce unemployment from 13% in 2001 to under 5% today. Again, that is full employment under the People's National Movement. So when they tell you we want change, change from what to what? Change from 7% unemployment back to 13% unemployment? Is that the change that you're looking for? Because as sure as night follows day, or day follows night, whichever you would want to take it, there will be mass retrenchment in Tobago because it has already been expressed by them. And so if that is the kind of change that we want, that kind of change we will get if we put God out of our thoughts and vote the PDP come December 6th, 2021. And so we constructed new fishing facilities. We have constructed health centers. We have constructed community centers. We have ensured that we have lights on almost every playing field in Tobago. We have ensured that we put aside and we allocate on a yearly basis over $10 million so that our people can be further educated, because we have been talking about human development going forward. And so almost everything that has to be done, the People's National Movement ensured that it was done, because we were about ensuring that we build a solid foundation so that our people can thrive going forward, PNM style. We deserve a hearty round of applause for our contribution to the Tobago's development. I want to remind you that it was under the People's National Movement that we would have constructed the lands for Charlottesville Link Road. It was under the People's National Movement and under the leadership of Claudia Groom-Duke that we would have constructed the Spring Garden Trace and bypass and also the Mason-Lescator Link Road. Under the People's National Movement, sometimes we forget. And so on this platform, we are going to remind you of the contributions that we have made. We have conducted refurbishment and resurfacing work throughout the island. We have built the Shore Park Cultural Complex. We are now building an indoor sport complex. We have built several different facilities across this island, all for you to enjoy and for you to ensure that you have training and empowerment activities. And so make no bones, ladies and gentlemen, we have to protect all of this. This is about your future. This is about your children's future at the end of the day. And so where is my head in all of this? Where is the People's National Movement going to take you in all of this, ladies and gentlemen? And I must say that, of course, I have a vision. And we on this side, we have a vision. Because we know that if you do not have a vision, you will never be able to find your way going forward. And I've articulated it since the time our campaign has started, which is to ensure that we have a well-diversified and self-sustaining Tobago, which is to ensure that we work hand in hand with the private sector and you, the healthy citizens, making your contribution in this very lovely island that we call Tobago. This is what it's all about. And that is why, as the health secretary, I have been working night and day with all of the leaders in the public health department and the TRHA and the Division of Health, Wellness and Family Development to ensure that we can preserve your lives because we have a future for you. This is what it's all about, and I want to take the opportunity at this point to congratulate all of them who have been leading the fight, putting their shoulders to the wheel night and night in order to ensure that you can survive. And as the campaign progresses, I will tell you more about the achievements from the Division of Health, Wellness and Family Development in terms of how we have been making our systems more robust so that you can feel comfortable with the level of care. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to indicate, and even all of Tobago, wherever you are, I just want to indicate that the People's National Movement will ensure that you are safe. The People's National Movement will ensure that you are protected wherever you are, whoever you are, whichever sector you fall into. The People's National Movement got you. We got your back. And we are going to work with you to ensure that we protect that future of yours going forward. And on my platform, I spoke to you about some of our plans going forward. I indicated to you that we are going to create 3,000 jobs with the Tobago House of Assembly and the private sector. I indicated to you that we are going to establish a division of information and technology so that we can once and for all go paperless in Tobago. Because of course you know that the COVID has brought about new realities and we have to adapt, we have to change. This is what it's all about at the end of the day. And that division will create more employment. That division will open up opportunities for those who are well learned, for those who are programmers, for those who are site developers, for cleaners, for drivers, as the case might be. This is where we are taking Tobago. I spoke to you that the PNM administration under my leadership will ensure that we over the next 4 years give out over 2,000 lots and 2,000 lots to our daily paids, 2,000 lots that will include our single mothers, 2,000 lots that will include representatives from the military, 2,000 lots that are going to include and take into account your needs, the people of Tobago, because this is where we are at this point. And so when we tell you that we got you, we mean it. When we tell you that we are a team with ideas and a team that will take Tobago to another level, we mean it, ladies and gentlemen. And this is where we are. And so I want to indicate to all of you this evening that going forward, we are going to take care of our single mothers. And I've been talking about throughout the campaign. And this is what we plan to do. One of the things I've recognized in all my walks and in leading the Division of Health, Wellness, and Family Development is that a women who are vulnerable need additional support. They want to do all sorts, education and training, but they just don't have the time, and some of them don't have the resources to get it done. So in my proposal and my manifesto and under my leadership, I propose to fund up to 2 children on a yearly basis at daycare to free up single mothers so that they can be enrolled in entrepreneurship and training programs. Because as I indicated, it's about ensuring that these young women or not so young women can lead meaningful lives. And what does that really mean? It means that we are now going to create further jobs because more daycare on the island, more children, and with some support from the Tobago House of Assembly. So almost immediately we are going to take care of the issue of creating entrepreneurs and most importantly, creating jobs and most importantly, ensuring that we take care of our single and vulnerable women. 2 children, daycare services free by the Tobago House of Assembly under my leadership over the next 4 years. This is what it's all about. I want to say to all of the young people out there, and we will talk more about youth, that I will ensure under my leadership that we have 10 scholarships on a yearly basis so that our young people can be trained in the subjects or specialize in the areas for which we are lacking, and more so in the areas that we want to build out in Tobago. Being the secretary in the Division of Health, Wellness, and Family Development, we're struggling to open the Roxborough Hospital. We can find nurses, we can find cleaners, we can find wards made, but we cannot find specialist medical officers. And so we need people who are specialized in pediatrics. We need people who are specialized in accident and emergency. We need people who are specialized in gynecological care. And that is why we will ensure that we create 10 scholarships for persons not only specializing, but in other areas as well. And the other area will include environmental management and engineering, because the world over is moving to green technology and to green energy, and Tobago must not be left behind. Because in my view, the point again, that is not something that we ought to take for granted. And not because it's happening with a PNM administration means that that collaboration will continue under a PDP arrangement. And so we have to take into consideration those things going forward. So ladies, over our time and under my time in office. And so tonight, the creation of the Tobago Investment Agency. And so tonight, we are focusing on monetizing our culture. We will be focused on ensuring that we can grant 10 scholarships. And I spoke about SMOs, environmental engineers, animation, to name a few. And of course, I will not forget our single mothers going forward. And this comes on the heels of the 5 manifesto plans that I gave to you last night, which is to ensure we create jobs, which is to ensure that we distribute land, which is to ensure that we fight for Tobago's autonomy. And as I said night before last night, if all of us as Tobago people have to go to Trinidad to march so that the UNC and the PDP understand how forceful Tobagonians could be together, we are going to do it as a people. And I would be leading from in front, because Tobago's autonomy is important for us to take Tobago to the place that we all want to be. And we have to ensure that within the next 4 years that autonomy is delivered to us. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the platform of truth. This is the platform where you will find the correct information and information for you to make those decisions on December 6th. This is the platform where you will find candidates who have humility, candidates who are well experienced, candidates who are entrenched within their communities, candidates who are full of community service. This is where you will find that. This is where you will find the people of integrity, people who don't have to run from the police officers, and I see them looking at me as though they're indicating we're almost close to the time. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this is serious business. This is about protecting your future. This is about coming out and voting solidly and only for the People's National Movement. And so if we were to do that, pay attention to what is being said by all the speakers. Pay attention to the truth. And we are so moved. The only thing that we will do on the 6th of December, starting from 6 a.m. in the morning, is to come out wherever we are, or mothers, or daughters, or boys on the block, and to vote solidly and only for the P&M. And then, like we always do, we will sing in one refrain on that night. Whether we come down with boat, whether we come down with plane, whether we come down with helicopter, whether we walk. Great is the P&M. Great is the P&M. We shall and always will prevail. I thank you.
Take no chance. Protect your future. On December 6th, vote PNM. Great is the PNM.